Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors Academy, the place where we not only talk about what's going on in the gun world, but also how we're going to fix it together. And the content that we're going to dive in tonight is all about Biden's shiny new toy, his Office of Gun Violence Prevention, but it's not what they're telling you it's about. Everything is in this video. It'll be linked in the description box below, and please let me know what you guys think in the comments and send this one out because everyone needs to know what they are truly doing here. And of course, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn the notification bell on. We are distributing Freedom twice daily, and we would love to have you along for the ride. And this content that we're about to cover, my brothers and sisters, is a perfect example of why I've partnered with Ground.News. Check this out. Because Ground.News is trying to hold the media accountable, and they give you information that you don't get anywhere else. Check this out. For what we're talking about, Biden to create new Office of Gun Violence Prevention, take a look at the bottom of this image. You can sort by all, left, center, or right to see what either your allies or your opponents are saying for the rights you care about and the stories you're reading. Check this out. For example, 41 total news sources on this. There's a broad spectrum of coverage from left, center to right. And if you continue down as examples, National Review, which is rated mixed factuality and right, is covering in that regard. And on the left, Associated Press, which is mixed factuality, high factuality and lean left. It shows you everything you need to know. There's a link in the description box below and Ground.News/Langley to get your own subscription. Thank you so much to Ground News. But now, my brothers and sisters, we got to show you what this is really about because, as usual, it's not what they're telling you. So let's get it. So first, let's talk about the news that broke today. White House to announce first ever federal Office of Gun Violence Prevention, AP's sources say. So this is technically leaked that it's coming out. This is kind of like one of those things, I joked about this on Second Legacy with Tim. It's like the meeting for the meeting. They leaked the announcement for the announcement to build entertainment and energy around the announcement. So it's like you got a twofer here. Anyway, we'll get more details later as it comes out, but what I want to really draw your attention to in the early portions of this video is remember what gun control lobbyists have told us consistently forever. The gun lobby controls Washington. Every politician is walking around with a politician face on with the NRA hand stuck right up their orifice. Well, now you've got an Office of Gun Violence Prevention put in place by the White House that's going to serve under the DOJ in the Department of Justice, a reiteration. And they're going to have access to all sorts of things and bring it centerfold. And by the way, the people who are staffing it are coming directly from gun control groups. So now you're basically instituting a revolving door from a new bureaucracy function underneath the DOJ with the gun control lobby. Yeah, who's the lobby in control? Just like lefties always do, they're doing what they're accusing everyone else of doing. Anyway, that's that. That's the first piece. But let's get into this because how they're going to do this is where the big story is. So, as you can see in the timestamp, this was released today. Washington AP, President Joe Biden is creating the first ever federal Office of Gun Violence Prevention, according to two people familiar with the plans. The office will coordinate efforts across the federal government and will offer help and guidance to states struggling with increasing gun violence, while taking the lead on implementation of the bipartisan gun legislation signed into law last year. That's a big part of what we're about to hit and analyze. Biden tentatively plans to announce the new effort with an event Friday at the White House, said the people who had direct knowledge of the plans, who spoke on the condition of anonymity, because they were not authorized to speak publicly. Now, again, remember, what gun controllers will tell you is that the NRA and the dark money from them runs all of Washington. Meanwhile, they have a bureaucracy they're creating, again, underneath the DOJ, which is going to have a revolving door between gun control executives. If you don't believe me, wait for the rest of this video when I show you who's actually doing it. But implementing suggestions to states, I wonder if those will be honoring the Second Amendment or if they're going to be a little bit biased to gun control propaganda and gun control sources. Yeah, maybe, specifically when I show you who's running it. And then the other thing is around the Senate Bipartisan Safer Communities Act. So this office is going to bring its center of the focus. All of it. It's going to be focused right on that gun control perspective or common sense gun safety. And what they're going to do is they're going to have access to the legislation that has allowed the ATF to put a mandatory 10-day waiting period on 18 to 20-year-olds for their gun purchases. They're legal adults, by the way. They can sign up for the military. They can sign into mortgages. They can get married. They can do all those things. They can pay the crap out of some taxes. But those gun rights, Not sure that's going to work out. So that's one thing it did. It's also granting federal funds through grants to states for red flag law bribery. In fact, the due process protections, which Tom Tillis and Chris Murphy really hammered out in that negotiation, completely went out the window, and money was going for red flag laws to states that don't have red flag laws. That's the second little gem. And then the third one, with the ATF redefining yet another part of our existence around the gun world, where everyone's a dealer now if you fit these certain criteria, which is incredibly stupid. So don't worry, all of those things are going to be better orchestrated by the Gun Violence Prevention Office run by gun control executives. Yeah, Nothing biased here. Let's continue, because again, this is the big story, not anything else. And I haven't even gotten to the election voting stuff. Quote, tackling this epidemic will take a whole government approach, and this new office would ensure the executive branch is focused and coordinated on proven solutions that would save lives. Greg Jackson, the executive director of the Community Justice Action Fund, Gun Control Group, and Everytown for Gun Safety's Rob Wilcox, Gun Control Group, are expected to hold roles in the newly created office, which White House Staff Secretary Steph Feldman will oversee. So you have gun control executives in the new office with a Biden administration staffer, or what was the word? What did he do? Staff secretary. Yeah. Who's controlling it through dark control? Yeah, exactly. But you know what? Let's continue, because I'm sure it's nothing nefarious. Yes, it is. Quote, there are a few people who care more about the work of gun violence prevention than President Biden, said Senator Chris Murphy, Democrat, Connecticut, who has drafted legislation with Representative Maxwell Frost, Democrat, Florida, that would create such an office. Establishing a White House office dedicated to this fight will save thousands of lives and strengthen the federal government's implementation of the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act. That's what I said earlier about that whole law that already passed. That's where they're going to be focusing. So John Cornyn, Lindsey Graham, Joni Ernst, all the Republicans who signed on to this, you guys got played beyond played. In fact, I think you should be out of a job just because you proved this ignorant. Honestly, that's my opinion, but you guys let me know in the comments field. But now let's get to what are the other reasons they could do this. This wouldn't happen to be any part of the main focus for the Biden re-election campaign in 2024, would it? Yeah, it would. Let's get into the polling. But Republican support for gun restrictions is slipping a year after Congress passed that bill. With bipartisan support, according to a recent poll from blah, 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 blah. Most Democrats, 92%, hive mind, by the way, want gun laws made stronger, in line with their views in the Harris poll, which is a left-leaning poll, by the way, just saying. But Republicans desire far more expansive language. But Republican desire for more expansive language has dropped from 49% to 32% last summer. Man, I was struggling right there. And independent support has also declined slightly from 672 to 61. They're losing support for sweeping gun control bans, mag bans, everything. So they're trying to motivate their base, utilizing your rights to purchase some attention from gun control groups and advocates. You don't believe me? Let's jump over to another article, a Politico article that I covered with Tim this morning. The timing of Biden's announcement comes as his presidential re-election campaign ramps up. The new office will present an opportunity for the president to point to his action on gun safety at a time when Congress is unlikely to pass additional legislation, potentially increasing enthusiasm among key voting blocs, including young people. This makes sense why Davey Hogg is out there pounding his chest saying how amazing he is and how this all was possible because of him. This is disgusting. This whole thing is a political game meant to garner more votes and attention with key voter blocs, purchased with your Second Amendment rights, creating a bureaucracy underneath the DOJ with a revolving door and executive staffers between the White House and the frickin' gun control lobby. Yeah. And that's what they didn't tell you across the board. And let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I will see you on the next one. I'm Braden. See you later.